Welcome to the Reseller Show with your hosts, Andy Lawrence and Kevin Blackburn.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Reseller Show podcast episode number 1. My name is Andy Lawrence.
And my name's Kevin Blackburn.
And we are ready to go. I'm really excited for this one. This is the very first official podcast after the announcement from last week. And we've got a packed show, an action-packed show of questions. We've got some questions about social media selling. We've got some questions about Q4 that we'll be interested in talking about, and we've got some news on the competition that we launched last week as well. So, Kevin Blackburn, would you like to tell us how we're getting on with the competition? Have we had many entries, and how long have we got left?
We've had so many entries. We've actually had, in the first 7 days, we've had 292 entries. That's amazing. That's really, really awesome, guys. There's 7 days left for the Reseller Show launch giveaway. On the 22nd of October, we are going to be announcing 10 winners for all those prizes. 22nd is actually my birthday, so that's going to be great to give some gifts away. And yeah, you can still join for the next 7 days. It's going to be at resellershow.com/launch, and you can definitely get joined in. And this Reseller Show, super, super exciting. I've been looking forward to this all week, Andy.
Absolutely. And don't forget, if you've already actually done something on the competition, you get an additional entry every time you share the show. So obviously we're keen for everyone to share it as much as possible so we get the word out. So if you've already entered, if you enter again, you get a bigger chance of winning. So if you want to go and share it on your Insta, share it on your Facebook, your Twitter, wherever your people are, we'd appreciate you going back there and doing that. So yeah, that's very cool. Also, it turns out there's reviews on podcasts, which is a new thing for me. So if you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify or any of the podcast players, you can actually leave a review for the podcast. And obviously, the more reviews you get, the more people will be able to see the podcast. So one other thing that we'd like you to do, if you don't mind, if you'd like the show, we'd appreciate a good review. Give us some 5-star love, and that will help us get the word out as well.
Yeah, and we are live now on iTunes as well. That's taken a little bit longer, iTunes. But if you are, if you like to listen to your podcasts on iTunes, we are available there now. Just go to resellershow.com/iTunes and you can join us there. But super excited to kick off the first show, the first podcast. We have some live viewers with us. So shout out to all you guys, Adam, Colin, Paul, Simon, two Simons. Super excited about this.
Absolutely. So let's get started then, shall we? We've got a few questions. So why don't we start with some of the questions, because they are some good topics to talk about. I've had some really good questions this week. So why don't we start with talking about some of those questions, and that will give us a topic of conversation just to carry on and chat about between ourselves. And if anyone wants to chip in on the chat, they can do as well. So why don't you pick one, Kev, to start off with, and we can start.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're always going to pick out some questions for you guys. If you guys have got any questions, topics, you can send them in. We've had a number of questions come in the first week, which is awesome. The first one here is from Simon H. And he said, "Hi, Andy and Kev. I have a Facebook page for the business, but I was wondering whether either of you have had any experience or success using the Facebook marketplace at a large scale. I would prefer to list my items under the business rather than personally. Many thanks, Simon." What's your thoughts on Facebook marketplace, Andy?
Absolutely. I love the Facebook marketplace, actually, Kev, and Simon. I think it's a really good resource. Personally as well, I'm always addicted to look locally what's available. I'm a reseller. I love to buy and sell things, whether that's personally and whether that's for the business. I very almost bought a Land Rover 2 days ago on the Facebook marketplace. I took myself out of it, luckily, but there was a very reasonable value Land Rover on there. I don't need any more cars. I was probably going to sell it, but I know what I'm like. If I buy something, then I struggle to sell it. So I thought sometimes I buy things in the name of the business and then struggle to get rid of them. So I thought, you know what, I'm a bit busy. Let's leave that one and move on. But there are, in terms of buying and selling, Simon, actually, it is a good marketplace because you can find things that is listed locally. There'll also be less competition for someone else to come in and buy it as well. So, you know, you might be able to find something to buy and then you can then sell it on Amazon or eBay or online. But in terms of your question about selling at scale, yes, obviously at scale, it's a bit harder because it's a local pickup type website deal. You're on your phone to do it as well. So at scale, it's a bit harder, but I appreciate that you don't want to use your own personal account for it. But, you know, there's no reason why you can't set up a Facebook account in the name of your business or with just your first name and your Simon H or something like that. Have a separate account for your business and do it that way. But experimentation is the key, I think, with this sort of thing. I've had a lot of success buying to resell using it. I've done a little bit of selling on there, but, you know, in terms of brand new stock, it's probably not the place, although I haven't done a lot of experimentation. Maybe at Christmas time, it might be an interesting thing to use. But I've actually made a note of a post that was on the UK Book Flipper website, Facebook group. And I think this it actually relates to this very well because you can use social media, not just the Facebook marketplace, but social media in general for gaining more sales. And was it, Kev, you were thinking about potentially what we were chatting about the other day, creating an event locally for people to come and like have a warehouse deals event where you've got some of your stock that you've had brought back from Amazon and maybe, you know, make an event and have just before Christmas, have a load of the public come in and potentially buy some of your stock that you've got hanging around, you know?
Yeah, I think the Facebook marketplace, in terms of at a large scale, I think Facebook, like Andy just said about the Facebook and social media in general, one of the things that this is my thoughts on it. Reselling is what we do, and I think we need protection on where we do it. So we've got Amazon, we've got eBay. There is social media. What I am really interested in doing personally within my business, especially going into 2019, is getting more and more involved in getting sales away from Amazon. So one of the things that me and Andy were talking about the other week was one of the things that I think would be very interesting to do is you've got Facebook communities, you've got Facebook groups, like wherever your town is, you've got like stuff for sale. I know the town that I live, the stuff for sale is actually got something like 40,000 people inside the stuff for sale. And I was really thinking about how you can actually leverage these communities around your town. So, for example, I was talking to the team here with the girls here, and one of the things that we were thinking of doing is actually putting a post out onto one of these groups, sort of saying, would anybody be interested in this particular product? Let's say you found something at Wholesale, brand new, whatever. You could say, is anybody interested in this? We've got 10. And then before you even bought it from a wholesaler, you could, because there's 40,000 people in this group, you're going to get in front of a lot of people. You could, technically, in theory, you could sell 10 units of this particular item before you've even got them, just to do a bit of market research. So over the next couple of weeks, what we were thinking of doing is every other day or so, put out a post on the stuff for sale. You could even try to create your own group around a particular niche of product or something. Let's say, I don't know, vintage games or something. Let's say you could get some type of supplier of, you'd have to test this. This is some of the brainstorming conversations that me and the girls were having. You could put a post out saying, is anybody interested in this? We've got them at a particular price, got 10 units, and you could have 10, 20 people just sort of say, yeah, I'm interested in this. So that's some of the things that I'm thinking of doing. Andy just said about the warehouse sale day. I think that is definitely something you could do if you've got some space, even if you didn't have. I'm sure there's places where you could probably, I don't know, rent some space for the day, and you could get the word out saying that you're going to have a warehouse sale day. People love a discount. People love to think, like here in the warehouse, I could put all the shelving out, I could put all the units out and get people, just to come and sort of see what there's available. So
Mm-hmm.
I think probably going to speak a lot more, keep you guys updated as the shows go on and as the months go into 2019 for sure. But that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. You just said about renting somewhere. That's, every town and village has got a village hall and a church hall, and all those places can be rented for the day very, very cheaply. And you could actually put signs all over the town saying, I don't know, did they do it where you are, Kev? You see these signs come up that says Persian rug sale or teak garden furniture sale. They'll just pop up. I don't know if it's just local to me. And it'll be, I think it's just like a traveling, and they go around and they'll rent one of the local places and they'll put all these sign out and they're having a special sale, and they'll probably go to the next town and do the same thing. It's an interesting concept. I certainly be interesting to try it just for a few sessions, because you're probably going to be in for about 30 quid to rent a hall in the center of your town for a day. Put signs up everywhere and see who turns up, especially around Christmas. And if you say warehouse clearance sale, where all of this stuff is warehouse clearance that you've maybe had sent back from Amazon, or some stuff that's slowed down now and competition's moved in, stick it all in there for the day and see what happens. It would be a really interesting experiment for sure.
It would be very, and one thing that I've always liked, I like the fact that you can do experiments without purchasing products. On Amazon, for example, you could create a product that's merchant fulfilled, and you can put that available even though you may not have the product yet, just to see whether you get a sale. Yeah, and you could technically do the same thing on Amazon. You could go into your stuff for sale. You could go exactly what I was thinking of doing, a bit of market research. Put a post out saying, I've got 10 of these. Is anybody interested? If nobody comments, that's probably not the range or the niche or the particular products to go down. So I think we've got to be creative. I think ultimately for all of us resellers, you need protection in terms of diversification. And I think all of us, if you had operations on Amazon and you was using Amazon for your benefit, but you was also driving traffic through Facebook to your own site, you was getting some traffic to your own warehouse or wherever you are, I think long term, the more traffic sources you've got, the more points of sales you've got, is ultimately going to keep us safer long term.
Absolutely. It's a really good point, actually. It'll be really interesting to see if you experiment with that. I'll be interested to hear how you get on. But just to round off that question from Simon, I've got the post here from the book flipper community. Reese actually posted this, and he allowed me to quote him in the podcast today. So I'll just read out what he said. So he said, in this example, this is my notes. Reese said, whenever there is something that might interest people, and if parts of it, a few weeks back, this is his example. A few weeks back, I found a really valuable little guide to doing up a particular type of vintage car. It had a rank of 3 million. Now in books, 3 million is crazy. You don't really want to be over about 600,000 in used books at the moment. So 3 million probably hasn't sold for a while. It's going to be probably over a year or longer that book has sold. So it may be very valuable, as in the last time it sold, maybe a £50 book or something. But you see these all the time. They haven't sold probably because they're £50. So there's the chicken and the egg sort of thing. Usually the idea would be to leave that alone. But he said it was only cheap, so he gave it a gamble. He posted a link and a photo on his book hunting Twitter. So he's got a Twitter profile about book hunting, and he posted a picture of the book and a link to where he was selling it on Amazon, I assume. Maybe he put it up merchant fulfilled and put the link up there. And then he spent 5 minutes scrolling through any tweets where people had mentioned that particular model of car and liking a few of their posts. Okay, so what happens when someone likes a post? They say, oh, someone's liked it. I don't know who it is. So they click on your profile, and the first thing they'll see is that picture of that book and a link to where you can buy it. So sure enough, he sold it the same day to one of the people whose tweet he liked. So that's a really good tip, I thought, which is worth sharing. A really interesting strategy. And he said a similar thing happened to a typography book also that evening as well. So, I think that's an awesome tip. You might not want to do it on a $9.99 book because you'd be there all day. But if you've got a few, if you see them in the shop and you think, okay, that looks like a really good one, but it's a really slow rank. If it's a really good niche like vintage cars, a particular type of car, a specific thing you think that's really niche, well, that's the whole thing about social media. There's always niches out there. So you can search the hashtags on Instagram and find people talking about it. You can search the hashtags on Twitter, find those people, engage with them, and even be direct. I mean, all he's done is liked their post, which is very passive and probably a little bit less intrusive, but you could just message them and say, oh, by the way, I've got a book you might be interested in, and just talk to them. And
I think that's it's genius, very resourceful. It's there's definitely, I think what I love about this day and age is that there's so many different ways. If you think outside the box, if you think a bit creative, there's many opportunities today for sure.
And you could actually scale that. If that worked that well, bring in some virtual assistants, you could probably find a nice way to scale that where, you could just take a picture, upload it to your Dropbox and let someone else manage your social media for you. It could be quite a straightforward thing to do if you've got enough sales, and they could do the liking and the commenting on other people's profiles. So definitely some legs in that one. Worth a go, worth an experiment with, Simon. If you've got some time, have a play and let us know how you get on as well. Report back. We'd be interested to hear how you get on and talk about it more on another show. All right, Kev. So shall we get another question on the go?
Yeah, sure. Question 2 came from Paul H. He said, "Hi, Andy and Kev. I hope you're both doing great. Looking forward to the first podcast tomorrow. I have a question, if you don't mind possibly including it. Any questions that we'll talk about in this show? At the moment, I only sell on Amazon, doing OA, RA in the UK and the European marketplaces. Would you also recommend selling on eBay? I have seen that you can list your items on eBay and can get them shipped from Amazon, but then I've also seen people complaining that they buy something from eBay and it arrives in an Amazon packaging. Will that affect your feedback on eBay if they leave a negative review? If it is a good idea, what is the best idea to get set up?" I hope that all makes sense.
Good question.
Did you hear the question, Andy?
I did. Yeah, I did. Sorry, I was feverishly trying to find a website whilst you were reading that one out, because I've got a bit of an answer to that one. Have you got anything?
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, for me, I haven't done anything on eBay. I actually, fun fact, I actually started on eBay back in 2015, but I very quickly wanted to transfer over to Amazon for scalability purposes. So this one's all up to you, Andy.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's the thing about Amazon. Scalability compared to some of the other websites is a bit of an issue, because you've got to physically create the listing, and build the listing, and find the keywords, do all that sort of stuff. And then afterwards, you've got to pack it up, you've got to ship it and all that stuff. So it can be a little bit more time consuming. But there are tools out there that will allow you to drag all the data from your Amazon listings and automatically create eBay listings for it. And then you can actually have all that over onto eBay. And then when it sells, it will then automatically pick it from your Amazon inventory and ship it out on your behalf on Amazon, which is pretty cool. There is the issue that Paul did mention, that you will someone will be buying something on eBay and it will arrive in Amazon packaging. So there is a little bit of a disparity there, but I've done this before. I tested it and I've not had a problem. All I would do to combat that is make sure you make a clear and note. There is a template thing with the software where you can make a clear note saying, please note, some of our stock may be fulfilled via our Amazon stock. So your item may arrive in Amazon packaging. You can make it very clear like that, and you shouldn't have too much trouble. There were, back in the day, I don't know if it's still around, some sort of arbitrage schemes that I didn't really like the idea of. They approached me to promote this particular type of scheme to resell, and it was an arbitrage of eBay and Amazon, and it was against the Amazon terms of service. It wasn't really a good business model, and I know I could have probably made an awful lot of money by selling or mentioning this particular scheme because it had a favorable referral commission, but I didn't believe in the software and I didn't believe in the service. So I passed on that, and that could get you into hot water. But this way, as long as you're clear and make it clear on the eBay listing that potentially your item may arrive in an Amazon box, then most people aren't that fast. And to be honest with you, so many people are busy. They're buying stuff on eBay, they're buying stuff on Amazon. If it turns up in an Amazon box, they might scratch their head and I'm sure I bought that on eBay, but it's not really going to be an issue. So yeah, the software that I have used in the past is called Joe Lister, and this is the software that allows you to actually. All you do is you log into the website, you log into your Amazon account, so it syncs, and it's really quick and easy. You can tell them what stock you want to sync, what stock you don't want to sync. It will drag it across. It makes actually very nice and attractive listings. It works well. Obviously, you're going to have to make sure you sell enough on eBay to make it work, because obviously it's a paid software. We've got the plans up here. Let me have a look. What's it going to cost you? It's going to cost you $29 for a basic plan per month. You get 2 weeks completely free. That gives you 100 listings on eBay with custom templates and email support. Upwards of there, you go to the next plan with 250 listings, and that's for $60 a month. But it's worth a go. It's certainly something that I would give it a go. I think I had an affiliate for it. I think it was something like wholesale-help.com/Joe Lister. I'm guessing. If you want to give it a go, see what it's like. But otherwise, just Google it. You'll probably find it there. But yeah, I've used it and had some good success with it. At the moment, I'm not using it. My inventory got to a certain size where it would get a little bit too expensive to make it run. But if you want to select certain listings, you don't have to select your whole inventory. But 100 listings running almost immediately on eBay from zero for $30. What is that, 25 quid, something like that? Not bad. I think that's pretty good. And yeah, I would recommend you give Joe Lister a go and see. Let us know how you get on.
Yeah, just to my 2 cents, I think one of my core principles is that one of the reasons why I haven't personally gone into eBay just yet is because I still feel like there is more room to grow on Amazon. Amazon's got such an amazing. I don't even know what the limit is on Amazon. That's the crazy thing. And there's a fine balance between diversification and if you're not all in yet on Amazon or eBay, wherever you currently are. My sort of core principle is like, get your business up and running, get some system, get something up and running to the point where you've maybe got a team involved. If you're selling on eBay right now, you've got a team involved, you automate it somehow, you scale your business, and then you use Amazon as another platform if you liked. So for me, I feel like my advice is choose one of them, really go all in on one of them. And then down the line, if you decided to diversify through eBay and things, that's just my personal opinion. That's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's good. Got some comments down here. Simon Seller put some of my slower moving items on eBay and state clearly in the listing that it comes in Amazon packaging. So I've got something covering my screen, but it's my stock bought and paid for. Haven't had any problems yet. Yeah, that's exactly what I've done, Simon. It works. I don't think you have too much of an issue, as long as you state it clearly in the listing, as you say. Yeah,
it's only like when you buy some, or a customer buys something from Amazon and it's from Argos or Argos packaging or something. It's. Yeah. I think people just want the product nowadays. They buy something. I know me, if I bought something from eBay and it came in an Amazon package, I'd just be like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It might make you scratch your head for a minute and say, did I do that? I don't know. But to be honest with you, if you get something that's a bit slow, the amount of times I've ordered something and then you think a week pass, you think, I'm sure I bought something, and you forget all about it. So people just want to do what they have to do and move on. So I really don't think it's too much. People aren't going to be outraged that something's come from a slightly different place, as long as they know there is a possibility it might happen. Paul says, thanks for the answer to the eBay question, Andy. We'll definitely look further into it. Maybe do the items that have not sold and see if you can shift them. Yeah, even if you use it as an additional sort of side marketplace for some of the slower moving items, see if you can get them going. It's worth a go. I think with Joe Lister, I think you get 15 listings free or something like that. That sounds familiar. You get like a small amount of listings free, so you could even make use of the free version. Alrighty. So,
I know. One of the things, because you was talking about cross-connecting different platforms and things. One of the things that I was looking at is potentially connecting Amazon to Shopify, and I know that you can do that. There's Shopify apps to do that, and that is one of the things that we're potentially looking into connecting with the Facebook marketplace, going back to the first question, driving people to our own Shopify store, but it's actually fulfilled by Amazon. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's many different combinations. I think there's many different things that you could look down. And nowadays you can connect different platforms. It's just all very, very exciting. That's why it's a great time to be a reseller for sure.
Absolutely. And the whole diversification is always a good thing to have on your list of things to think about and ways you can diversify, because being busy and having a successful business is great, but if it's all in one place, there's always that nagging feeling that you think, well, if something happens, then everything's going to go bye-bye. So it's nice to try and diversify a little bit and spread the load a little bit, just in case something happens. We hope for the best and plan for the worst. Isn't that the expression? I think hopefully it won't happen, but it'd be nice to have it.
It does. It does happen. That's the problem. And that I think that, I think it's something to really talk about as well. I think with Amazon now, what I don't like, I love Amazon for many, many reasons. I think there's a reason why, they're overtaking the world. They're fantastic at what they do. But they also, I don't think they treat us resellers as great as they should be doing. I feel like sometimes Amazon, they're very quick to, I guess, put you as a reseller or as a seller under the guillotines. You're a little bit more, you're like guilty until proven innocent, So I think it is important. I think we mentioned it several times now. Diversification is key, definitely. We use Amazon, don't rely on Amazon. And I learned that personally the hard way, being suspended 2017 in the September, having my Amazon account shut down for roughly 36 hours or so. But when you've got your entire life and your entire business in that platform and they do that, it's not a great feeling, obviously. It's but that's why, if you get into eBay, if you get into Shopify, if you get into Facebook, I mean, the more the merrier, really.
Absolutely, yeah. The more platforms, and even if 90% Amazon, and you're just playing with some marketplace, testing out some ideas, then that's great, because you may just stumble over a social media sort of strategy of your own where things are going really well from a particular place, and why not? There's always opportunities online, and you don't have to stay in one position in one place, as I say, because I still buy and sell on all sorts of situations. I'll buy the odd car here and there. That's more of a passion, but it certainly makes me money when I can resell it for more money. I love scooters as well. I bought and sold many scooters over the time. They're not going to go on Amazon, but if you could make £500 or £1,000 flipping a car, then why not? It's the same sort of thing. And if that's just spent, that means you spend half an hour each day checking what's coming up on the different marketplaces, then something to think about. It's another opportunity and another revenue stream. For
sure. Absolutely.
Right. I think we've pretty much covered that one, Kev. Should we have another question?
For sure. This question was from Paul S. And Paul, thank you very much for your question. It says, hi, Kevin, Andy. I've been meaning to ask this in the grads group, but it seems to be good for the show. This will be my first Q4. I can always remember my first Q4. How exciting is that? I've come across a lot of advice along the lines of invest as much as you can as much as you can get your hands on for Q4. Spend as much as you can, beg, borrow, steal kind of a thing. So I'm wondering how seriously, I'm wondering how seriously to take this. Obviously, we want to make our own decisions and figure out how much risk we're comfortable with. I get that. So I'm just assessing my level of risk. Then the question becomes, in what ways is the risk different during Q4? E.g., example, is there less risk of prices tanking on OA deals and staying low during Q4? Is it harder to make bad buys in Q4? Do bad buys look any different this time of year? Are there any risks that are higher, like getting carried away and overbuying? I think it's just in general, in terms of risk, Q4, I think this is a fantastic topic to talk about.
Isn't it? Yeah. I think you've probably got some experience to hit on some of those, Kev. I've been nattering away so far this evening, but I think you've probably got some ideas. But yeah, I guess he's generally asking about the buying strategy for Q4. If it's the first time, what is it? Are you just ramping up on volume, Kev? Are you buying more of the same thing when you're buying? Are you buying more different items? What are you doing to get into Q4?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of risk, for me, I've always said that Q4 is a fantastic time for obvious reasons. There's the demand is so much bigger. In terms of risk, like Andy said, don't steal. But I do think that in terms of the prices tanking. I guess there's multiple examples that you give there. The price is tanking on OA deals. So at the minute, there's always this scenario where if there's a product that come on an offer, let's say there's a 50% discount at a particular retailer, the chances are a lot of online arbitrage sellers will purchase that product because it's a winning product. Then what will happen is, we had a real great conversation a couple of weeks ago with Andy as well about the whole sort of philosophy of arbitrage and what happens, supply and demand. So as there's an offer on, let's say there's an offer on at Argos or Disney or wherever the place is, and load of sellers, there could be tens of sellers buy this particular product. You have this scenario of the price people start to penny battle. And the price starts to come down, and you end up buying a product that is profitable, but by the time 10 days, 14 days later, once you've got it to Amazon, the price is tanked because you've got another 10 people that are now penny battling. For me, I've always said that you've got once you understand the arbitrage philosophy, the science behind it, that when the deal runs out at Disney or wherever the deal is, the 50% discount, the 3 for 2, whatever it is, once that's no longer available, and the people that have penny battled, once the demand is basically buying all their products and people can't replenish, what happens is that price starts to come back up. What I've experienced over the last couple of years, the time period for that happening has increased. So whereas maybe in 2015, when there was a smaller level of sellers, for example, that might happen in the space of 30 days. Now it might happen in the space of 45 or 60 days. So you may have to hold on to your stock a little bit longer, but play it out. If there's a window of 2 weeks, say, that this offer's on at Disney or wherever you're getting your products from, once that offer's gone and things go back to full price, there will come a time where the price people start to sell out and the price starts to increase again on Amazon. So I think for me, in terms of our business, I've always said replenishing is really, really important. I've always said that I would rather personally sell out of stock than have a lot of stock left over. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't ever say to anybody, just risk it all just because it's Q4. I think you have to look at what the data is saying. Just because I always look at the data, look at camel, look at the sales rank, look at what it's been doing over the last 1 month, 3 months. Just because, like, let's say it's sold 4 times in the last month, it doesn't mean just because it's Q4, it's now going to sell 40 times in the next month. I always ask my team, it's very, very important, especially when you've got other people spending your money, look at what the data is telling you. So definitely go in, whether it's Q4, Q1, Q3, 2, whatever, always look at what the data is telling you. It's with OA, it's always better to go wider than it is deeper as well. So I guess that sort of is my answer to that. I think it's very, very important to spread your. It all depends on what your bottleneck is. If you've got capital, you can make a lot of money during Q4 by investing it into many products. But it's just a case of looking at the data. That's so important.
Absolutely. I think if you're getting into Q4 for the first time, it is busier. Obviously, gift items are going to be the things that you'll see the most uplift in. So toys and the sort of maybe gift packs and the sort of things that people give as presents will be the things that will be selling more. So there are some items that maybe you've bought throughout the year that you will think, okay, well, I could get shot of these at Christmas anyway, so you might hold on to them and things like that. So there will be elements of those situations where you can tidy off and polish off some stuff you've had hanging around that you can wait for Q4. But yeah, I mean, what's the real answer? It's very difficult. It's on your individual situation. I wouldn't overextend yourself. If you're still relatively new in experience levels and things like that, yeah, as Kev said, it's better to have maybe 4 of an item and have lots of different individual items than it is to buy 20 of them, because if you only sell 5 and then you get stuck with the other 15, it's a problem. But if you've only got 4, or 5 of a particular item, you're not going to struggle too much. You're going to get them. Even if the competition moves in, you probably sold 4 or 5 before they move in anyway. But as Kev was saying, quite often, if the competition, and the competition goes down, if the competition goes up, and so the price goes down, it will always recover. As the amount of stock it decreases in the marketplace, it will always recover. It is as sure as night follows day and those sort of situations, it will come back. But sometimes you do have to wait for it. It does recover quicker in Q4. If the sales go up, then you may find that whole process a bit quicker. But I wouldn't go mad. If you've got a decent budget, then make use of it. There's no point in having money in the bank over Q4, because if you can find stuff and it is a good thing to buy, then buy it. But don't just buy things because it's Q4. Make sure the data says it's a good buy to begin with. But it stands to reason, if you've got a lot of the data has got some good stuff, that if you've got toys in stock over Q4, you're going to do very well indeed. So I wouldn't go mad and overstretch yourself with credit cards too much unless you're comfortable with what you're borrowing. But yeah, just I guess if you can get more stock in and more toys in over Q4, you're going to do a lot better, because there is an uplift for sure.
Yeah, just to, because you did mention, I'd love for you to spend some time talking about this, because I think it is on everybody's mind right now, with it being Q4. When you say, is there less risk of prices tanking and staying low, that all comes down to what we've just been talking about. It's all about how you analyze the data. If you buy any product at an inflated price, it's going to stay low in that scenario because you've bought it too high. If you're buying something at 50% of the cost, then that is obviously one of the steps, one of the things that you're looking at in terms of your analysis. When you say, is it harder to make bad buys? It's always a bad buy is a bad buy. It always comes down to the data. It's about understanding how to read basically camel and keeper, essentially. Understanding what your sale rank is telling you. Always remember that sales rank is only a snapshot in time. That's why we always look at the last sort of 1 month, 3 months to get a real understanding of what that product's been doing. So if I've had conversations before with people that they've said, a product is under 100,000 in sales rank and they've purchased it because it's under 100,000. But I always say this, that whenever you look at this, the sales rank, it's only a snapshot in time. Always look to make sure how many times that product has actually sold in the last at least 1 month, 3 months. The same with the price. Have a look, see how stable the price has been over the last 1 month, 3 months, and actually look at that, because it's not harder to make any bad buys. I think you can make it's very easy to make a bad buy if you're not looking at all the data points. Do bad buys look any different this time of year? No. I think a bad buy looks the same all year round. I think what happens is, I think you can see that throughout any product that you look at. You can have a look if that product was available this time last year. You can see maybe what it was doing last Q4. You can most likely see on Camel or the sales rank, whatever you're using to look at your sales rank. You can probably see the velocity of the sales increasing for Q4, especially as we're going to November, December, and things really start to go up. So, a bad buy looks exactly the same as a bad buy, no matter what time of year it is. And are the risks any higher? Don't ever get carried away. That's the only thing I would say. I always say I would rather have you sell out, or let's say you buy 10 and you underestimate how many sales. At least you're not stuck with stock. You've still got that capital back. You've made that profit. I would always recommend to anybody, don't get carried away overbuying. And that's certainly what I say to my team as well. I'd rather have a conversation of why did we buy more than why have we bought too much. That's sure. Probably what I would say.
Especially when you scale, you can really get into a situation where you've got tens of thousands of pounds in your business in stock, and if it's not moving, it's no good to you at all. So you do have to be a little bit careful with that. With wholesale, it can be a little bit different because there are some other strategies in place. Buy and hold can be a thing sometimes, but again, it takes experience, and you have to decide. You have to have the budget to be able to tie up with that sort of thing. In terms of online arbitrage, Q4, buy the stuff, get the money out, rinse and repeat. It's the best way to do it. You can get your profit, access your buying budget again, and keep going. And more often than not, that's the best way to do it. So I definitely think that's the way. But I think we've pretty much covered that quite well. I wouldn't say you would change anything at Q4, but just be prepared. And if you can have as much stuff in stock for Q4, then do that. Get ahead of the game if you can, is the other thing I would say. Get stuff shipped in, because you will notice if it's your first Q4 that the whole shipment process slows down an awful lot. The deeper you go into Q4, if it normally takes a week for your stock to get delivered by UPS and then checked in at the warehouse and then go live, it could take a week and a half, 2 weeks. It can be waiting a long time. So if you leave it to actually ship your stuff to the warehouse, you might actually end up getting the best time where people are buying and your stuff are just sat in boxes waiting to be checked in, because obviously everyone's doing the same thing at this time of year. Everyone's shipping in stuff, and Amazon are working 24/7. They put in 24-hour shifts. They sort of quadruple their amount of casual staff at this time of year to try and get as much stock in as they can. But it does slow down. Everything slows down. So be prepared. Try and get your stuff in there sooner rather than later.
And not just Amazon. It's not just Amazon either. It's UPS as well. UPS slow down. Unfortunately, fortunately for us here at the warehouse, one of the things I say to the girls all year round is really get to know our UPS driver, build a relationship with your UPS driver. Offer him a coffee if you need, and buy him a gift at Christmas. Give him a box of chocolates and things. Because what happens is I've spoken to UPS before. I've had them on the call, and I said, look, we're a daily pickup. We put collections in every single day, Monday through till Friday. Why can't we open, or why can't we have some sort of arrangement with UPS to come to us, every day without us having to put on a collection on? And still to this day, they'll say, because we're Amazon sellers, we can't create an account. Obviously, Amazon have got some type of relationship with UPS. But what that means is us as Amazon sellers, we're at the bottom of the priority chain. Whereas we've had it like last year, touch wood, we haven't had it this year yet, where UPS may not come and pick your stuff up, or they ain't got enough room to pick your stuff up, depending on how big you are, depending on how many boxes you're shipping. But if you're shipping, 30, 35 boxes, 40 boxes, you're really needing a whole UPS van to yourself pretty much. And at times we've had him turn up and there's only enough room for 8 boxes instead of the 20 that we may have sat there waiting for him. And he'll say, I can't take any. So it ends up having this backlog. So you end up having like a double-ended sword where you have a backlog here at your warehouse going into UPS, and then Amazon themselves have got a backlog. So it is absolutely imperative that you try to ship as quickly as possible so you don't miss the window of opportunity, I guess. But one thing I did want to add about the whole risk, about the whole Q4, and I think I've spoken about this really in depth about my inventory health system. It's about deciding how long you're willing to keep hold of your stock, and that all depends on you're a brand new seller into Q4. All depends on many factors: how much money you've got, how much, if money is no object to you and you're willing to hold on to your stock a little bit longer, that's fantastic, obviously, because that cycle of the supply and demand changing, you're going to be able to ride out people tanking the prices if you need to. If you are maybe needing your stock turning around quicker, you've got to get your stock in as quickly as possible, and then decide, okay, after 30 days, you're going to look and analyze the situation, and look at where the buy box is for all your products, and then lower if you need to, depending on what your minimum is. I usually tend to work to 30% minimum. We try to source above 50%, so it gives us that flexibility. But just like anything, some products don't sell. Some products are sat there at 30% because the buy box has dropped because people are undercutting. I always sort of say compare it to like a normal traditional store. They have end of season clearances. They have, at the end of summer, they're trying to get rid of all the summer clothes. So you can decide what that period of time is for yourself. So that could be 45 days. You're willing to hold onto your stock for 60 days. After 60 days, you're going to take a look at all your stock and go, do you know what? I'm going to lower my margin from 30% to 10%. But that's up to you. That's obviously depending on up to you on how you sort of want to work. I know for us personally, we'll do that 90 days. At 90 days, how many products are now over 90 days? Where is the buy box? And sometimes you actually find that the buy box is maybe at 20%, and you've just been sat there at 30%, and it's now at 20%. So I'm thinking, I've had this product now in stock for some time. Let's sell it for 20% instead and get that cash flow again. So yeah, I think I've spoken for a bit too long there.
It's fine. It's all good. Colin says this is pure guys. This is pure gold, guys. Loving it. So absolutely, yeah, it's really good stuff. And this is what this is all about. If you get something comes into your head, it's like, yeah, that's a good point. So already we've had a lot of stuff that I didn't actually think about come up just through the conversation. So it's good, and I appreciate it. And on that note, that was Colin that was saying this is pure gold, guys. Colin's actually written a question he sent in, and he's been waiting all this time to have his question answered. So I better read out his question.
Kept him waiting.
Yeah, I'll get you waiting. Sorry, Colin. So I think we've pretty much done the Q4 question now. And we can, if you want us to expand on a specific point, just ask another question and we'll cover it next week. It's not a problem. So Colin messaged me and said, let's have a look here. A couple of my online arbitrage products have arrived, and when I scan the barcodes, it's bringing up a slightly different product than I thought. Basically, the actual contents are exactly the same, but the packaging is very slightly different. Therefore, they have different barcodes. Is it too dodgy to send in my product with my own barcode and list it under another product? So what do you think about that, Kev?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would actually. This is what we have done. If there's a packaging variance, we will change the listing on Amazon. We will add a bullet point simply saying packaging may vary. That's it, and then send it in. That's what we do. A lot of the times, Amazon will do that automatically. They'll just, within their automated system, they'll just add that bullet point saying packaging may vary. If then it does in some way get back to, I don't know, a negative feedback, let's say a customer is expecting red packaging and they got blue packaging or whatever it is, it says that on the listing, and Amazon will remove that negative feedback. So it all depends on what you mean. If it is just packaging, that is okay. If it's a different, obviously if it's a different product, like a different edition or something, then that's something different. But in terms of packaging, definitely take advantage of changing the listing itself to packaging may vary, or change the title to maybe add in that different color or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. He's put in a follow-up here as well. It says, where there are two listings for the exact same product, but scanning a barcode only brings up one, is it okay to jump on the other listing? One in particular I'm looking at is definitely the same product. I can see the barcode on the images. So we've probably get this a lot with online arbitrage. You scan the barcode, and there's two on Amazon. Someone's created an identical listing, maybe to try and get away from the competition. Kev, is it okay to jump on the other listing?
Yes, absolutely. Do that for sure. If you've got two items on Amazon exactly the same and they're both selling, I've had numerous of examples of this. We'll just sell on both listings, and Amazon, they tend to have got better over time with this. They may merge the listings, but if both listings are selling, you sell double the amount. You just ship them in. That's the perfect scenario. We've had a number of products like that, and it's fantastic, to be honest. I love that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think. I'm just trying to think at the back of my mind whether they particularly like you selling on either way. I've never had them pick me up on it anyway, so I don't think it's a big issue. If you
it's definitely shouldn't be allowed. I mean, technically there shouldn't be multiple listings. It should all be the same. That's why one of the things that people can do is merge listings. That's why sometimes you'll get that listings have been merged when Amazon, through their systems, have recognized that there's two listings, then they'll merge them both. But while they've not recognized it, I don't think I've heard of a scenario where somebody's got seriously affected by Amazon taking some type of action, saying you've got two different listings on the same product. I've certainly never been penalized or had any type of notification or anything about that. We've just simply sold on both and taken the money.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. The other thing that I've done as well in the past, if you've got two of the same listings, I've had a listing go off the boil, and I've noticed the other one's actually doing fine. I've actually had my stock sent back and then sent the back in on the other listing and carried on selling, no problem at all. So,
that's the case as well, for sure. If you list on the second and then the listing's dying on you, just return things and send it back on the other one, for sure. Definitely.
Yep. I've just done that on one just the other day, in fact. So I just had it all come back and shipping it back in again. Simon said, how do you put them on both listings? So Simon, what we're talking about is exactly the same item. You have to make sure exactly the same, because you don't want to slip up and end up selling something that's not the same. If it's exactly the same listing, two different items, they'll have two different barcodes. So just select one of them, ship it with that particular ASIN, and the other one will have a different one, ship it with that as well. So there'll be two separate listings, and your stock will be listed on the two separate listings as well. So that's how you would do it. Officially, it might not be on the terms of service. So we're saying that we do it. You might want to, quite often there'll be one clear one that's a lot better. You might, if there's two, there'll be one obvious one that's a lot better. May as well just stick to one of them. But if there's two and they're equally going well, then we're saying officially, well, it's up to you, but we haven't found any problems by doing that in the past. So yeah, that's how you do it.
I think, well, I mean, technically they're two different products on Amazon. So, you know, in theory, it's not actually, because there's two separate ASINs on Amazon, you know, so they're maybe the same product, but there's two separate ASINs. So, you know, I don't think Amazon can actually penalize you. I think their course of action is just simply to merge the listings. And then you could end up with, you know, it's probably is a grey area. Yeah, technically, we probably should tell you not to do it, but
it's not a problem. Yeah, in realistic terms, it's not a problem. We don't want to have a question next week saying you told me to send it on both listings and now I'm suspended.
Well, I mean, in nearly 4 years, I've never ever had any type of performance notification from that. I've had notifications saying that we've had merged listings, you know, and I think that is the action that Amazon would take anyway.
Probably, you're probably right. Yep. No, I've never had an issue either, so it's unlikely, I would imagine. So hopefully that answers your question, Colin. Just go with the listing that that is doing the best, and it's a good point actually. So if you're listing and you're just scanning barcode, sometimes it's worth manually searching for the item because you may find the same item doing just as well, if not better, on another listing. So sometimes it's well worth just manually putting in the search term rather than just using the barcode, because you never know what's there.
Right. Well, I think that's been how long have we been going for now? We've been going for 55 minutes. Nice. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's worked out quite nicely because that was the last question from Colin. So that's pretty good. So if anyone else has some questions that you would like us to answer for next Monday, then you can email us on, what's the email address, Kev?
You've put me on the spot here now, Andy. I want to say live at resellershow.com.
That sounds about right. I've got it here, so I can.
But you're also welcome to you can join our Facebook group. We've started a Reseller Show community where you're all welcome to come spend some time with us on Facebook. Just go to resellershow.com/Facebook. That should redirect you to our group. You are welcome. Join the conversation. Our goal really is just every week just to have a casual conversation between resellers. Imagine us in a virtual mastermind room where we spend an hour a week just talking about things that I think us as a community of resellers, I think we're a very special community, and I think we could talk for hours upon hours upon hours about how exciting this is. But yeah, it's great just to get together. I want to thank you guys for joining us live this evening, and the guys that are listening this back on the podcast. Would love to hear what you guys have thought for the first episode, the first session. I hope this has been a really, really good first session to listen to.
Absolutely, I think it went quite well. We got some good answers, and as usual, when we get together, some extra things come out, some golden nuggets come out there when we put our heads together and start talking. So that's what this is all about, and I've really enjoyed getting into the weeds with some of these questions. And it really is a community thing. It's what you make of it, guys. So keep coming with the questions. Don't be shy. Put it on the Facebook group. You can search for Reseller Show on Facebook. Hit us an email address. We've got a Gmail address as well. What did I say it was? resellershow at gmail.com. You can email us. But yeah, just get involved in the community. If you've got something to chat about, even if you've got a topic you want us to chat about for next week, then we are led by you guys. It's just, as Kev said, getting together and having a chat is what it's all about. So yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Paul, James, Ron, Jamie, Colin, Simon, and Simon as well.
Yeah, we had two Simons. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. We are available across all platforms now on the podcast. So wherever you decide, wherever you listen to your podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever, we're going to be everywhere, aren't we, Andy?
Absolutely. Anywhere where you'd normally listen to your podcast, That's where you find. Just search for Reseller Show, and that's where we'll pop up. So yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your evening, guys, who come on the live show, and thank you for listening to the podcast. Like I said, if you give us a rating on iTunes or any of the podcast platforms, thank you for doing that. We appreciate it, and don't forget the competition's still running for another week.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Seven more days, and then next week, the next show, session 2, we're going to be announcing the 10 lucky winners, and yeah, really excited about that. So if you want to get yourself involved, just go to resellershow.com/launch, and all the information is there.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. And don't forget, it's Kev's birthday next week as well. So make sure you wish him a happy birthday when next time we're on the call.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to be doing this on my birthday next week. It's going to be fantastic. I'm 30 as well. So how amazing is that?
Crazy. I remember that 10 years ago, but yeah, it was good. All right, guys, let's wrap it up, shall we, Kev? Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Welcome to the Reseller Show with your hosts, Andy Lawrence and Kevin Blackburn.